Hey guys, welcome back to some more Banjo-Kazooie. So, we're done with all the optional stuff. We got a lot of cheats, we got a lot of useless junk that may or may not be useful in the future. Let's go ahead and actually beat the game.
765 as it gets to the final level.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a majority of your notes right there. And that's not the final note, Dora, there's still more.
Now we're gonna go to have the wacky furnace fun.
Welcome, everyone and all. Welcome to Grunty's game show, where it is stupid. This is the worst part about Banjo-Kazooie. I do not like this game that much anymore. It's not a good way to end your platformer. Not gonna lie.
Welcome, Mario Party 10's iteration of Bowser Castle.
So here's the problem I have with this. This is an interesting idea because this is a quiz game that tests your knowledge of all the stuff that you encountered in Banjo-Kazooie. Good idea on paper. Here's the issue. Do you see all those different types of squares? Each one is a different kind of game. So you have a visual-based question, you have a standard question, you have a grunty question, so all those useless things that Brintilda told you are now useful. You have minigame things, you have the Joker cards, which could be anything, and you have a one-hit KO thing, which once again could be anything. This is kind of a roadblock, if you want to be honest, to beat the game. No joke, it took me a decade to beat Banjo-Kazooie because of this stupid game. It took me so long, could not do this as a kid, came back as a teenager, was finally able to beat it.
So what you're telling me, it wasn't the barrel in Sonic 3, it was Grunty's Furnace Fun in Banjo-Kazooie that's dumb.
Yeah, because, again, you have those death squares. You get the question wrong, she insta-kills you no matter how much health you have. And the grunty questions are randomized for every playthrough. So you have to, if you don't know the answer, guess and hope you get it right. Which is really risky to do. Because imagine playing one of the Death Note squares and you get a grunty question when you never check the Brintilda hints. And I didn't know Brintilda was really much of a thing. I only got some of her answers when I was a kid, didn't find all the locations. Kept on dying because I got grunty questions.
Where the heck is that? I want to say that's... Yeah, I'm trying to answer the question myself. Hear the crowd, they boo and hiss to see you fail. They would like to see you miss.
I don't, because this game takes forever too. You fail and have to do this all over again. That's like 20 minutes.
Grunty paid way too much for this game show, specifically so that she could sync up her voice with the LED lights moving on her display screen.
She really likes that, yes. She paid all this money, she wants to get use out of it. Now, see, some of these questions like this one's not that bad. Listen to this music, get an idea where you've been. If you played this game long enough, you probably got these songs engraved in your head. So, this one is at Freezeezy Peak. You're inside of, Boggy's Igloo. That one's kind of simple enough. But then you get certain questions like that last Banjo question we got, where you have to count the X's. So if you're not paying attention in a lot of areas, it can be pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I feel like this game is very punishing, kind of like a huge roadblock for the end of a platformer. It's a sudden tone shift and genre shift at that point.
Yeah, I would have got that wrong.
So Joker cards are your best friend. When you get a Joker square question right, you'll get 2 cards, which lets you skip a square. Save these for the insta-kill squares. You're gonna need them.
Oh, no, that's jam jars.
I like how one of them was just puddles. Yep, that's water. That's definitely a thing of puddle. I
mean, after what happens in Banjo-Tooie, he pretty much just dissolved into a puddle.
Yeah, I mean, death isn't kind to the guy. So this is really like the last type of square we haven't really explored yet, because the death square is basically the same as Joker. This is now one of the different minigames we played in the game to get a Jiggy. Now you have to do this to proceed. And this one's interesting, because now we actually get to use the speed shoes in this minigame, which we didn't have unlocked the first time around. And, yeah, you want them this time. As you see, the game is much quicker now. After you get the jiggy here, this minigame does get harder, so you kind of need the speed juice for it. This is the same minigame you would play to earn the extra lives, which is totally not worth it. But we have to do it here.
Do you keep the shoes indefinitely for the rest of the minigame?
Well, the timer is just long enough for the minigame, so yeah, basically it runs until the end of the game. As you see, these things are changing every 5 seconds. When we did this minigame for the jiggy, this was every 10 seconds they changed. This is also why you kind of need the speed shoes now, because it changes so quick it's hard to keep up with without speed shoes. This is why I don't recommend you do this minigame again in Bubble Goop for the extra lives, because it's too much, and it's not worth losing your life for one extra life that may or may not be easy to get.
You're gonna use Joker card, aren't you?
No, there's no reason to use Joker on this. I have a list of all the stuff because of Rentilda. And even if I did get it wrong, I got a lot of health at this point. I can afford to take some damage at this point in the game. So, usually, if it's not an instant death, I don't really care, and I'll just take the risk. If I feel like it's too much at one point, I get too low on health, that's when Joker cards on normal spaces is a good idea. But just try to avoid the honeycomb pieces on the map, and just go back when you need them. So we're going to just do one of these death squares to show it off. And as you see, it's a randomized question. This is why I recommend you just use Joker cards. Never know what you're going to get. This one, luckily, is not that difficult.
I would've gotten it wrong.
Yeah, if you got that wrong, you would have died.
Yeah.
Then you have to start from the very beginning. There is one interesting thing about this. For starters, Grunty is a narcissist.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, you're still talking and there's no text.
Yeah, she says it's a cool character. That kind of gives it away. If she gives the character a compliment, it's her. She makes fun of the character, it's anyone else in the game. But an interesting thing about this, and I think it only works on the N64 version, is that there's actually a glitch related to this whole thing. And it basically works that on File 1 or 2, if you come into this game, and then you game over during one of the time-based things, whatever moves you have, they will transfer over to save data number 3. So if you come in this game with all the moves unlocked, you game over during one of the time trial things and start a brand new save on game 3, when you enter the first world, you will automatically unlock every move in the game. This is a huge glitch that they use in the speedruns. That way they can just speed up all the movement, and they don't have to backtrack for anything.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's
You can also tell when this happens, I'm just panicking, looking at a list like, oh god, what was this again? Yep, that's about right.
Yeah, I thought it was Rat Sober because I remembered that.
Yeah, I have all this stuff down on the list, but it's really hard to find all of it. There's a lot to go over. And you have like 10 seconds, so if I get these questions wrong, I'm just panicking out the list and trying to hurry. Can't blame me.
Uh-oh, Joker card.
Luckily, if we fail this, you just don't get the Joker cards. You just take damage.
Oh, I wonder.
Oh yeah, I know what this is. It's the meme because of that, VTuber. Thank you. Thank you, Internet. I know this one too well now.
Yeah.
No, it's called Ekum Bokum. It's Gobi's Valley.
No, it's Kobe's Peak. Get it right. It's the better name.
I guess you're saving all the... Yeah, you're saving all the things in case you get hurt.
Yeah, in case you're too low in health or you get the death squares.
This was the one I was inadvertently singing, so I would have got the other question wrong. And logically,
Go.
yeah.
No, I like Treasure Bucket Bay.
Treasure Bucket Bay. The nicer version of that freaking hellhole.
So you thought we were done with cheat codes, did you? You thought stop and swapping bottles bonus was enough. No, Grunty says, hang on, one more time. Now spell your name backwards. when I got this, when I was recording the footage, as soon as I saw this load up, I immediately just threw my hands in the air. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I've spent like over an hour in this chamber. Got the whole playthrough. Don't send me back. Of all the places, you had to pick this one.
Not only that, you gotta make me do
Damn room. Welcome back for extra gloom.
You gotta make me spell my name backwards too. That's
It's not that hard, but this layout is so bad, so it's very time consuming.
I'm not a bear, I'm a bear.
Boo! You stink! Boo this man. Boo this man! Boo!
Yo, nice picture. That could be anything. That could either been Clanker or Rusty. That's the worst part about that one.
I was honestly thinking Clanker myself.
I honestly thought that at first too, and then when I was studying the image, I was like, that's dry. So we're not underwater. Rusty Bucket Bay.
Who puts their dirty undies on the freaking roof? God, freaking Grunty.
I mean, it's Grunty for you. She's an interesting character. Also, yeah, we had this question already, but, give it a second. Cogs are turning. There's fire. House burnt down. Still got it wrong.
Was still.
I still screwed that up.
There's so many dang answers. You can't blame me. I couldn't find it in the list. It's like in the middle of the list somewhere. I couldn't find it at all.
I love the sound. It's also very kind of suggestive if you really listen back to it.
I also like the one answer, musical goats.
Musical goats?
Yeah, at this point, I just want to get a move on. I don't want to get another long mini game. We're skipping it at this point. We got 4 cards.
Coming back to that room to do the game cheat code backwards. No, thank you. I don't blame you for wanting to skip that.
Spinning.
Yeah, this one I just didn't read it fully. I'm like, oh crap, I missed like half the question.
A squirrel. No, that's Conquer.
You know, I just screw the rest of this. I'm going home.
I figured you'd do that.
When you have that many cards and you got 2 death squares at the end, you wonder why this took me a decade to beat. Yeah, save your Joker cards up. Like, the only way to skip the 1 death square is to go all the way around the right side, but there's still a lot of death over on that side, so it's not that much easier if you want to be honest. But then putting the 1 death square at the very end that you have to do unless you have a Joker card, man, someone was being mean that day in development.
You know, with all this time that Grunty had to do what she wanted to get the beauty from Tootie, how did it take this long? Why did she just not do it?
She gets sidetracked too easily. Judy, what are you talking about? You didn't do any adventuring. You came to my house and got kidnapped. I did all the work.
Chief of Ideas. Great Grunty. Okay, we're doing the credit.
Yeah, this is the credit scene. All the characters in the game read out the names of all the devs. So that's why some of this would look a little bit weird, but it's a credits roll combined with a cast roll.
By the way, this version, since he's playing the 360 version, is a lot longer than the N64 version.
Yeah, this combines the N64 credits with the new staff that worked on the Xbox port, so we have more names to go with.
I mean, granted, it's not Mighty Number 9 long.
Well, the weird thing about this game is actually it has 2 credit sequences. This is credit sequence 1.
Did I just see a honeycomb piece fall?
No, the Jinjo is still back there, but the Jinjo Jiggy spawned right on top of the yellow guy. I don't know why, it just did.
That is odd.
Also, the credits scene, I mean, you kind of notice it with the Grunty running away scene, but since none of this was designed with 16 by 9 in mind, you're seeing a lot of stuff you shouldn't be seeing in this. A lot of gaps in the areas.
Nipper. Nipper the Crab.
Hi.
Hi, Clanker. Hi, Face of Nightmares.
If you want to read the credits, at least open your mouth.
The names they give everyone here, like little descriptions, are all clever too, because it's not just lead producer, it's big noisemaker for like the director for sounds and such. Like they give them all like clever little subtitles too, which is a nice touch.
Also, glad to see Tip Top.
Yeah, this is like the last time you really see him.
So much more productive when he's not in a car.
Yeah, too bad he didn't really come back in like any other games. A lot of the characters that were introduced in Diddy Kong Racing that were supposed to get their own games, man, a lot of them really just got the shaft and just got shoved into like Conquer or Banjo.
Yeah. Hi, Gobi. I see that you ran off to the sequel. Ruby and Toots.
Yeah, this guy has a good description of anyone who does audio stuff. We're just, noisemakers right now.
I love how this ghost is called Napper.
Because it just naps all the time. That's all it does. And then Logo has the toilet name, which is very fitting.
Uh-huh.
And he actually comes back in the sequel, too. I mean, not for much. He's just literally there for one collectible.
That is normal. How did you get trapped under there again? We freed you.
He's just like, welcome to the credits. Please help me.
Naughty, I see that you have a rock problem again.
Yeah, at this point in the game, I wouldn't blame you if you just don't want to fight the final boss. This is the point you can turn it off. In fact, I believe the game actually auto-saves once you finish in the Grunty quiz, so you're probably safe at that point to just reset. Because at the end of this, we're going to be put at the ending of the whole sequence, and we'll be able to finish playing. You can go back to previous worlds and get more stuff if you miss things, or, actually chase after Grunty and beat the game. Because a little anticlimactic here to get the credits, and Grunty is still out there. We haven't even confronted her, she just ran away.
So, I mean, she wasn't wrong.
Ginger was like, thank you for saving me. All of my friends. I like how in the credits sequence, everybody's got nicknames for each other.
Yeah. And as mentioned earlier, there are a lot of them really just clever nicknames. But yeah, like Matt said earlier too, we have a lot more credits because now we're into the Microsoft stuff. So, because of the fact that we kind of went through all of the interactable NPC characters in this game, now we have to loop them. So, here's Conga again.
Don't you just love looping when they don't plan this out?
I think it's more egregious in the 360 version for Banjo-Tooie, because I swear you see like the same pictures 3 times, because they run out of images, and they have to keep on looping.
Captain Blubber. I think we might have said this earlier in playthrough. Wasn't the captain from the original idea of Banjo-Kazooie what Captain Blubber ended up being?
Not really. I think maybe that was a side effect thing, because they still like the pirate idea, but the pirate captain they had in mind was supposed to be the main villain, and then Grunty kind of took over instead. I mean, we get more information about that with the sequel because the pirate that they were going to use originally has a cameo in the sequel, and he has a lot of flavor text talking about Project Dream. He had a dream once, but then a bear stole it from him.
I would have gotten it away for you with it too, if it weren't for you meddling barren bird.
He's so depressed, he has to drink his life away for all of eternity.
This game just got really dark.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the sequel's like first 10 minutes is super dark, so this series kind of flip-flops on its tone very quickly.
Oh yeah.
At least it isn't Conquer. Conquer
That
is
game-
just depressing.
Like, Conquer is depressing, dark, and gory, and Live and Reloaded ramps that up.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is Conker's first game was very joyful and colorful. Next game, not so much.
And on the Game Boy, and that was originally the direction that Bad Fur Day was going to go in, and then they're like, what about this?
Yeah, I guess because of how the Game Boy game turned out, they're like, yeah, let's just ramp this up by 1,000,000.
I still have to play Conquer's Bad for it still, but I've seen enough playthroughs of it. I'm just like, man, that game was very depressing.
It is.
Like, it was like, you'd think it'd be like so stupid, like, oh, this game's funny because it's all adult and toilet humor. And then you get to the end of the game, you're just like, I just feel sad now.
Yeah. Yeah. In my opinion, not really to spoil the ending, but I kind of feel like Conker has one of the worst games, video game endings I've ever seen. It's so depressing. Nice texture popping, by the way. Hey, Mumbo, don't fry that goldfish. He gives me double air in the sequel. You leave him be. We need that in Jolly Roger. So yeah, we didn't defeat Grunty, but we're kind of celebrating. 2D's here to kind of remind you, hey, idiots, you haven't beaten the game, go back. I don't know how everyone forgot.
Did they really need to? They got Tootie back. Who cares?
Well, she could just be kidnapped again by Grunty, so yeah, we should probably just fix this whole issue and just get rid of her.
At that point, if the police got involved, yeah, Grunty committed crime, but now Banjo-Kazooie are on their way to manslaughter at this point.
Don't tell them about the bodies in the basement.